I'll run the we'll run the official intro here in just a moment. We'll give people a chance to hop in, get settled, say hi, and all that good jazz. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today, man?
You know what it is? Another beautiful day.
Good.
Okay. I gotta figure out why I can't hear nothing in my headphones. They're turned on. I see the power light. I mean, I can hear you all, but it's like
what happened
so
to the
low.
Bluetooth? What happened to the Bluetooth headphones, man?
These aren't the ones that have the audio controls on them, so I'm like.
But what the question is, what happened to the Bluetooth? You had a nice pair, working set. What happened? What made the change?
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna put the Bluetooth on because this just ain't getting it. This ain't getting it. And at least I can hear y'all with those. They're not sitting here charged, so I don't know what that's gonna sound like.
What's going on, Miss Brandy?
What's up, Brandy?
Let's switch.
Hello.
Over to these. What's going on?
I just have you know, Jeffrey, you especially. I rewatched Sinners again for a third time, and I'm standing on business. The relationship between Mary and Stack was based off lust, not love. I'm standing on that. I really watched it with an eye like, these people are desperately in love because that's what Jeff said. And I listen to Jeff, man. I trust him. I trust his input. No, bro. No. I'm standing 10 toes. 2 toes. Damn. 10 of them.
I mean, 2 toes, 10 toes, all the toes.
Whatever. All of them.
I think you're
the
both.
Neighbor's toes, all of them.
Okay. I can accept that.
I was really watching it like, I'm going to tell him.
See why he do that? He don't love her like that.
No, I mean, that makes sense.
It just is so good. It's so good. Just
I think so for me, there was. I'm not trying to say there was no lust, but I think that it was like they were the lust and like the lust aspect of it was way more intertwined in the love than with like the other couple. And so I do think, yeah, she wanted him in that way, but I also think, and she probably loved him more than he loved her.
I can agree with that. I do think that she had strong feelings for him. I really do. But I don't know if it was like, my hair is doing its own thing. If it was like
what they have is the kind of love that wears off over time and you don't really know what's left underneath it when that aspect of it goes. But they never got to explore.
I was like, okay, so they didn't really like have a like Smoke and Annie had a whole relationship before they left. But it was just like Mary and Stack was like, okay, well, we fucked and you fucked the shit out of me and I appreciated that. And then you just left me.
Yeah. She was stigmatized.
Right. Like she wasn't like
she was in love with something.
Remember right, exactly. But I'm like, it was never a moment where they were like, remember we used to hold hands and go down to the pond and skip rocks and talk about our future. No. You stuck your tongue in my coos.
Well, that was the highlight of the trip to the stream. We might have threw rocks or something, but all I knew
he was like, I think about you all the time. Like I have to distract myself from the fact that I think about you all the time. He did say that, but what was you thinking about, Playboy? Was you thinking about her good conversation, or was you thinking about where you put your tongue?
Both.
I'm gonna go with the latter. I'm gonna go with. I mean, and there is the very real possibility that there is some emotion attached to the physical act, because he goes into explaining how he does care about her. He wants the best for her. You know what I'm saying? But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, And
I also feel like, ain't that what people say? Like, oh, it's not me, it's you. You need to go be free and fly. You can't go nowhere without me. You need to blossom on
Right.
your own over there, over there.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
Right.
but I think it's also like what the time period and the setting would not allow them to have that sort of
Freedom
like,
and their
even
love.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
loves
but
her.
if that's the case,
It's
then
like
he
I-
shouldn't have
it's
never
like-
slept
it's
with her
like
in
I'm
the
not
first
gonna
place.
fuck your
It's like
life
I
up.
gotta leave because if I stay here, I'm gonna get myself killed because I can't stay away from this woman.
I got that. I feel that. But that doesn't necessarily translate into deep abiding love.
Agreed.
Agree.
Yeah, they definitely don't have the love that
It's
you get
levels.
through experience.
Right. They were probably at like a 5, maybe creeping toward a
I think
6.
if they had been able to develop
This
that,
nigga gave her
maybe.
a love power
But I
level.
also am like, but y'all grew up together and it never really moved past that. Even though
I
Annie
think
was like,
that-
she's family. I don't
I think
know.
that
Because
it-
I was like,
I
Annie
think that
really
it-
was like, they had an attachment, her and Annie.
Right.
But
I
that
think
could
that
just be
they
like she
did-
was the homegirl that came around, you know.
I think that it did move past that, but that was just her being like mad. Like you can't
Okay.
just walk up like I still love you in the train station. Like she's mad, but she's
True.
mad because she loved him, and she felt discarded, especially at the time where there was not like it's the sexual freedom, especially for women. So it's like I
No. But
gave you myself, and it meant this to me, and you left, and I waited, and you never
you
came
didn't
back.
come back. Like what she said, got all this money and didn't send my mama no flowers.
Right.
Like, but it was more hurt behind that, I felt like, than, you know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
supposed to be
Yeah.
family. My mama raised y'all and you didn't even acknowledge her death.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it opened up a whole wave of conversations now that I want to have again. Because I'm like,
Okay. Well,
every
you
time
know
I
what?
watch it, I see something different.
And we will make it a point to come back to those conversations, and we will.
I know y'all didn't
Hop
like
on
it. I
sinners.
know, but I'm just
No,
saying.
I
No.
have.
Every time I watch it, don't
Which-
you look innocent, RG? I see you over there.
No, I mean,
with your big eyes.
Wait. Okay, now we got to talk
I'm
about it.
impressed
What
that you
part did
saw
not
it 2
like?
more times. I'm like, wow, that's
No, what
Don't be
really?
over there
No.
with your big eyes
ready
looking
to
like
spend money.
what?
It was like, wait, what was it that I didn't like? I did enjoy. The only issue I had was I went for a vampire movie, and it was at the end. That was the only. Everything else, great, fine. Whole story, all the action sequences, everything good. That was the only thing for me. Was, of course, I thought it was going to be like 3/4 of the movies would be about the vampires, and since it was like 1/4 of the movie was about the vampires, that was my only hiccup. Otherwise,
That was Teresa's issue.
My
Teresa
only
didn't like
other thing is I need Haley Steinfeld to bring some of that to Marvel. I need her to bring some of that. I enjoyed her so much in this
cheekbones.
movie
That was
in a way that I have
instant
not
cheekbones
enjoyed
right
her
there.
in anything I've seen her in.
I do too.
Not because of that she was acting black, but because she was an adult.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
she was so good
This was
and
definitely a
believable.
grown-up role and not a
I want to see her
preteen,
play a competent.
coming of age.
Yes,
She was
bring
grown.
some of that serious and adult feeling and intent. Bring that into Kate Bishop, and I might give her. Might give her a chance.
That would raise a question about young Avengers if she has to come in and be a whole adult. But she could be the team leader. She could be the most mature one in the group.
Just let her be competent. If she can just portray a good, strong, competent hero.
She has worked directly under an actual hero, an actual Avenger.
Right.
So she has the opportunity to do that, and that could work. But tonight. Tonight we are talking video game adaptations. So, folks, welcome. We are GrownAGeeks, and this is Random Geek Chat. We're moving on from Weigh-In Wednesdays. We're getting into Random Geek Chat because I found that we just have a lot of wonderful random conversations. So, sit back, relax, join us as we talk about random topics. Tonight's random topic is video game adaptations. So, video game adaptations. That is where things are trending right now, and it seems like a lot of the video game adaptations that have come out have started getting really good. I remember a time when, like, if there was a video game based on a movie, you knew it was going to be crap. And if there was a movie based on a video game, you knew it was also going to be crap. And we're getting to a point where now the two are starting to cross over very well. I think it kind of started with, I don't know. You know what? I will open that up to the group and like we'll discuss like what was the first one you think like really stuck the landing. What were some near misses, that sort of thing. But RG, you had a list. Some of the recent.
I went back to do a little homework for tonight's show, and discovered, and I guess this is the case. Jeff agreed. Super Mario Brothers, back in '93, is technically like the first live action movie based off a video game. And it gets a lot of shit, though. I mean, I remember enjoying it as a movie.
As a kid, maybe.
How old were you?
I loved it.
No, I wasn't
As
a
a
kid.
kid,
See, here's the
As
fucking
a
problem,
kid,
right?
I loved that movie. Like,
Yeah,
Here's the
not,
fucking problem.
I'm
I
not
wasn't
gonna
a
lie to
kid
you. I
when
was
I saw
easy.
that movie. I was a parent.
Oh no!
Wow.
Okay,
when
now
that
you don't
movie
have.
came out. I legitimately that movie goes contrary to everything you would believe about my person
Mario
at that
Brothers.
time. But Super Mario Brothers '93, and I think that officially counts as the first live action movie based off a video game. Because technically E.T. was
E.T.
was
became
not
a video
Came out
game.
it was a movie
after.
first. It was a movie
Right.
first and then a video game.
Right,
So
right. That's about
this
to
is
say.
video. This
If
is
the game came out first, nobody would have went and seen that movie.
hell no.
No.
But yeah,
I
so
mean,
I
it
think
almost makes me
set the
wonder
tone
now,
pretty good.
was Indiana Jones based on Pitfall? Like, you know, just throwing that out. And I mean, that is like, you know, swinging wide on that one. We're reaching for sure. But of course, just thinking about like
it was
how
based off
old
that trope.
and
Yeah,
you know,
but there was also like a lot of movies that had kind of that adventurer feel to
The
it. There
swashbuckler
was like a whole
Yeah.
genre that I think
genre.
they
Yeah.
were like shifting towards. Plus, like, did Pitfall have like a story, or was it just
Yeah,
like
no.
you in the
It was just a
jungle?
dude swinging over alligators.
There
Yeah.
it is. Yep.
yeah, swing over alligators, avoid the pits,
Right.
and watch out for the snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see now when you say that part, it's like, why did it have to be snakes? Maybe that was like a little nod to Pitfall, and that was an Easter egg.
And like the old Errol Flynn movies and
right.
like, you know, the
Now,
pirate
let's see,
swashbuckler.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other movies that comes to mind, video game movie, and this is another old one, was Double Dragon.
Wow. Wow.
Yo, that movie was hot garbage.
I don't even remember that movie. That's how
Yeah,
bad
it
that
is.
movie.
Yeah.
I know
That
I've
movie
seen
is
it,
terrible.
but I don't remember it. I was gonna say Street Fighter. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Raul Julia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which,
Now,
by
that
the
was-
way, he made that movie. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
that movie was not hot garbage because Raul Julia literally put the remainder of his heart and soul into
Oh, yeah.
that role, and I stand on that.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't
No,
great,
M.
but his
Bison was
performance was
definitely
great.
M. Bison was definitely menacing in that, and Raul Julia gave us a villain that is worthy of M. Bison, and without all of the, you know, like hulking physique and all that sort of stuff, he was just evil. You know what I'm saying? And like his line delivery was so cold. And when he has that conversation with Chun-Li, and he's like, "The day M. Bison came into your village was probably the most important day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday." Like, that was like,
yeah. I remember being like, "Damn," and I was still just like 7.
right. Like, I just like, can I put a nickel in the swear jar? Damn, that was cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause in that one.
But then, so Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal, I saw that in the movies.
Now,
Yeah,
when Mortal Kombat came
Man.
out, that movie was fire when it came out.
Yeah.
It was fire when it came out, and even the
Yeah.
theme song is still like that's you hear it and you know exactly what that means. Right.
It means so much they had to bring it back for the new one. Like,
Exactly. Like I mean,
like wait a minute. Oh, there's action afoot.
Oh
and
yeah.
and I would say that is truly like one of the better ones without fail as far as video game movies. And for me, it doesn't even always everything doesn't have to be live action. Most of it is, and even a few TV shows. We'll get into some of those, but I think the first Mortal Kombat, of course, now it's 2025. CGI has done wonders since. It doesn't hold up as well, but I would still say that is still a good movie. It's a very
Yes.
clear story. It follows the game very well, truth be told. And it's definitely one of the better adaptations without question. Um,
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like video game movies over time, I feel like video games have been difficult to adapt because, well, I think studios have had more trouble adapting video games than they should because they don't want to follow the story of the game. Like
Right.
the first Mario Brothers movie, I don't know what the hell that is. Like you're talking about underground people evolved from dinosaurs instead of from apes, and princess hatched from an egg, and what are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
what, where are the pipes? Where are we jumping on the Goomba's head? Like what,
Mhm.
how, like when I watch this is not connect to the game at all. And I think with, even when you point out the difference, I think between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, Raul Julia's performance aside, because yes, that was phenomenal. What
Right.
the
But the
hell is
movie.
going on in Street
Right.
Fighter? Where are the street fights?
Yeah.
Right.
What is this Shadow Lu like war? Everybody's a soldier. You just
Yeah.
naming people names because, oh well, he's black, he got to be DJ. Like
Yeah.
here's Kylie Minogue gets camp. Like what Street Fighter are we even on? Like this is supposed to be the first Street Fighter movie, and we got people from Super Street Fighter 2. Fei Long is a general. What are we talking about? I have the
yeah.
game. I have the book from the game, and he's an actor. Like he's a clear Bruce Lee ripoff.
hmm
And I think like I actually read like this really good article about the making of the Super Mario Brothers movie and all the turmoil that went through like writing the script and trying to tell that story, the notes. Why basically Nintendo was like, you know what? Just pay us our licensing fee and like, but
And
we
you can
don't
do
want
what you want.
nothing to do with this. And that was
Right.
the reason why so many Nintendo games have not been adapted because they had such a terrible experience working with the studios getting that movie
Yeah.
made.
I
I
can see
think
that.
with Mortal Kombat, that was the first time where it was like, this is the game. The game is there's a tournament
Yeah.
and people fight.
Yeah.
So
Right.
in the movie, there's gonna be a tournament and people gonna
And
fight.
people fighting. And
There
these
you go.
characters.
Yep.
And they look
we-
like the characters.
Right. And Scorpion say, get over here. Sub
Mhm.
Zero
Right.
gonna freeze people.
Freeze some stuff.
Raiden
Yep.
has lightning. We not doing no science to explain why. Because the people who coming to see this are coming to see the people who they saw from the game do the stuff from
Right.
the game in the movie.
Right.
There you go.
And that's it.
That's it. But
That's
There you
it.
go.
That's all we got to do.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and,
it's really that simple.
it
and
really
I think
is.
you've had really
There you
like
go.
a mix of success and lack of success in certain things of trying to adapt movies based on how much the studio tries to deviate away from the story of the game and what people enjoy about playing the game.
I'll give you one. Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is going on? What is happening? We started out cool. We was in the mansion. I was excited. And then I don't know where we went. Code Veronica. Like what What happened to the mansion? What happened to the? I want to see the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it could have been like the Saw with solving the puzzles and stuff. I don't know. I know people love those games and they love the franchise, but I never went back. I never went and rewatched any of the second, third, or whatever, however many, because
really?
the first one disappointed me so much.
And I love the Resident Evil. Like, I feel like they did.
People do.
I feel like they're not like great movies, right? Like, obviously, we're not going to laud the Resident Evil movies, you know?
Right.
But as far as being enjoyable pieces of media to watch, there's a few of them that are. I'm not, obviously there are levels of how good or how bad each of those movies are. But I guess to sort of stray off a little bit from the point that Jeff just made about watching the movies to see what's in the game, to a degree, there are certain aspects because certain games don't translate necessarily well to doing exactly what you did in the game, right? Like Resident Evil, there's a lot of fucking walking around and opening up safes and mixing plants and shit like that. Like, this is not something necessarily, like, how are we gonna translate that? So I did like you hear the click of the Dobermans. You know what I'm saying? Like, the little Easter eggs, the little random Easter eggs were enough to keep me okay. The plot was, all right,
way
I got you.
Way over there.
Somebody got a little bit creative on that one, but,
And what was the plot? Seriously, what was the plot?
And
who knows? Got released, and
and people were affected, and one person.
Umbrella is bad.
To stop it.
Umbrella is bad.
Umbrella bad. Mila Jovovich good. That was the plot.
They at least did that right.
But it's funny you say that, because I think in many cases, to expand there, it is the Easter eggs we see on the screen a lot of times, and that's how they hope they're going to keep people in. They take the license. They say, okay, we have to have this character, this character, this character, or we have to have this scene or this item, something that is going to be visually familiar to the people who play the games, or something that's automatically associated with the game. As long as we include that, we can do whatever we want to do, and we can still call it this. And that's why we ended up with so many bad adaptations, because those handful of Easter eggs, you got to be a real fan to go in, find that Easter egg, and let that justify the stuff that we're seeing half the time. Case in point, and this is actually the kind of a reverse scenario, but the movie Blood Rain. Blood Rain is a horrible movie. Just a bad movie. But it is a phenomenal adaptation. Like, it really pulls from the lore, from the story, with the character, right to the weapon. I mean, like, they get all of those parts of it right. It's just bad. And so, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of have like an original story, and it's basically like female Blade has sexy outfit, kills other vampires, and saves the day. That's Blood Rain. And even in the game, that's Blood Rain. Like, that's all you do. But it was one of those games that, like, there were probably some young men who discovered they liked more the video games as a result of playing Blood Rain when it came out. And that was the selling point. So when they made the first movie, they leaned heavily into that side of it. But they did keep up with the action. They kept up with, like, her fighting style, some of the supporting characters. Those things were there, and it was a really good adaptation on a shit movie. And
so weird. Why was it? Was it just the acting, or
the acting? She was terrible.
The set design.
Yeah, I mean,
have you ever heard
the director was bad?
Uwe Boll. Have you ever heard of Uwe Boll?
Yeah,
he did Blood Rain, and he is like known for his bad
Yeah.
films.
Facts.
Blood Rain
Okay.
was one of his films.
Okay. I got it.
And
Well, I think
like I said,
too,
it's
I
You
think
said what?
there's been just like a shift as well. Like when a lot of these movies were being made, the people who were writing movies probably didn't play video games because they were
Very
like
Right.
for kids. It wasn't really like a respectable way to like spend your time like as an adult.
mm-hmm.
So you're asking these like Hollywood veteran writers to write video games, and they're probably not good enough to get past the first or second level to even
Right.
tell you what the video game is about. So it's like, all right, we
Yeah.
want a Mario Brothers movie. You're telling me there's a
There's a
character named
dinosaur.
Bowser, but I ain't good
Yeah.
enough to ever get to Bowser. So Dennis
We're gonna make
Hopper,
He's a gangster.
get in the chair,
They're
get some
Italian, right? Make him a
cornrows.
gangster.
Right. So I think that as video games have become a more acceptable form of entertainment for all ages, now you have writers who play video games and are not embarrassed by it, who are getting the opportunity to kind of craft these stories. But I do think that there's also like the element of like getting the character right more so than like worrying about telling the exact story of the game. Because I think about like the Sonic movies, right? The Sonic movies are not about necessarily what the games are.
Right. There's no story to
Right.
Sonic. No real
Right.
story to Sonic.
Well, I mean, Dr. Robotnik is turning all the like
Animals into
animals
Right,
into
right, right.
robots.
and
I mean, but
destroying the
they did that.
environment.
But I
in the
mean, there's no
cartoon.
like the game doesn't invest. You're not invested in the story in the game. Like you don't
Yeah,
feel
get
like
to
I
the end
gotta
of the
stop
level.
Dr. Robotnik. You're
Right.
collect
Well,
these rings, don't die.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah.
The game.
that's what I mean. I mean, it's not as in the lore of the game is not as important as the gameplay.
Right.
There you go.
But I think the characters, which probably get more of their personality and development from the cartoons that people have watched over the years,
Yeah.
which again, another adaptation where a lot of cartoons that got adapted from video games weren't great either. Like, I mean, the Street Fighter movie was way better than the live action one, but the Mario Brothers cartoon was like cool for kids, but it's like, this is just silly.
Yeah.
But the Sonic cartoon, I feel like, gave personality to all of the characters. It expanded like on kind of the story, but even though the movies told a completely different story than the cartoon, the characterization of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow
Yeah.
were all there. So I don't really care about, insert James Marsden and all that other stuff like that.
Yeah.
That works though because we got Sonic right. And Sonic is in this world and we're in her, like we know Sonic and we have a relationship kind of with him and his personality. So seeing him in our world is like interesting, and they got that right in my opinion, without having to do this like faithful adaptation of like him running through the forest and getting the rings and fighting a weird looking Dr. Robotnik. Like, why is he the only person here? They really did a lot of gymnastics in their storytelling to make all of that make
cohesive
way
story.
more sense than just trying to follow the game straightforward. But you could
Right.
also tell like the people who made Sonic played Sonic. Maybe not the people who did the original character design, but the one time
Right, yeah.
the one time bullying worked.
I still don't know what
Saves y'all
I
at
don't know. I'm
least
like, was that
$75
real?
million.
Was that real? Because they whipped out the other version real quick. Like
That to me said somebody
Just took a
there
little care.
had already done it and was like, I think it should look like this, and somebody else was like, what we have
Can
is
we
good.
use Joel's submission?
Yeah.
Let's go with Joel's.
okay, that makes sense.
That's
I just don't like when the game has deep lore already. And they don't use that lore like Resident Evil. By the time Resident Evil movie came out, we were on Code Veronica. Like we were 3 games in to Resident Evil, and there is a very deep lore and story to those games. So I'm just like, why? A good example for me is Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I think
Thank
they
you.
did such a good job of making the character not believable. You know what I mean? Like you even if you had never played the game, you got who the fuck Laura Croft was.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you played the game, you were like, oh, this is
True.
exactly what I needed to be. You know what I mean? Like I think that was such, and people don't talk about those movies anymore. And I thought they were really, really good as far as video game movies.
Well, that's
I thought
because
they
there
did.
was another one that was made by someone
I know
other
I didn't
than
like the
Angelina
newer
Jolie.
one.
That's why we're not talking about it.
I
Now,
like
and see,
because
no,
that
I
happened.
thought. Wait a minute. I thought Alicia Vikander did a fantastic job as Laura Croft, and it adapted the
new
rebooted
Laura.
franchise,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
it
the new
followed
friend.
very
Yes.
closely to that
Yeah.
with the intensity and like. If you went back and played the new Tomb Raider games when you got like early 20s Laura Croft, like this
she was very good
that.
at that Laura, but that's not my Laura.
Thank
And
you.
That's
The
not the Laura
gameplay is
I grew up
awesome,
playing.
right?
Yeah.
So that's something. The gameplay in the new Tomb Raiders is absolutely incredible.
Yes, it is.
You know, it's incredible. Yeah. It's on that Uncharted thing.
But I mean,
the
it's also
character
the
of
games have
Laura
evolved.
Croft is not. She doesn't seem as competent as the first Laura Croft. Like,
and I get
the
that
first Laura Croft
this
was
is her
instantly
beginning.
badass, and I believe
she's very
her.
young in the game. And that's fine. And I was with it for the first Tomb Raider when they rebooted. I was like, cool, this is young Laura Croft. And then they did part 2, and she had aged like a year. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah.
I think now
are
for
we
Tomb
not,
Raider,
I mean, I get it, but also
I
don't get it.
No, now I'll say for Tomb Raider,
I'm going with I don't.
The newest animated series they have with Haley Atwell doing the voice of Laura Croft, it's kind of that in between. She's not the tried and true Tomb Raider yet.
Right.
She's still just Laura Croft. It's further along in her globe-trotting adventures where she knows some people, she has contacts all over the place. You know, she's not being pulled in to do the big jobs yet. She's still just out there adventuring. They hear rumor of something and she wants to go and find it because she has the money to do it. But that animated series, I thought, was a nice balance of the two, where we get a good bit of like action and it's not all just jump puzzles and shooting. We get to see some of that gameplay that we got from the new series while looking at this character, and you can easily see that she's going to become the Tomb Raider. Like you can see that.
I think
I thought it was a good balance.
You said what?
I think on top of that, all right, if I'm out of turn here, Brandy, please reel me back in.
No, I'll be danged. I'm already upset. No, just
we as RG, Sam, and myself, we all know that there's an aspect of Tomb Raider that we were there for that initially, I feel like they took away in the newer one in showing her like younger and like kind of not as secure in her like adventuring. But I feel like part of the appeal of Laura Croft, whether it should have been or not, was the sex appeal. And I think that Angelina Jolie, like, I mean, she couldn't look unsexy if she tried. But I think Alicia Vikander could have had more of that. But I wonder if the writing or the directing was kind of like, look, we don't want to play too heavy into that. We want this to feel like
times have changed.
Yeah.
Sensibilities have changed. The new Laura is definitely more regular looking. But and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Alicia Vikander is gorgeous. I think that Laura Croft is a pretty person, but also I feel like sometimes we overcorrect, and it's okay for somebody to just be a sexy badass.
Yeah,
like that's okay. And for whatever reason, it's like no, we can't. But we even like that too. Like women watched Charlie's Angels. Women watched Tomb Raider. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
it felt like they went the Daisy Ridley, like Star Wars, I'm a strong woman with power kind of route.
And it's like, I get
that's
it,
cool.
but also Laura Croft in black leather with the double guns out.
Like slide underneath some laser beams and
do a split of a wall. I need these things.
They forget a lot of these people make movies and forget that the reason you're making the movie is because there is an existing fan base of this IP.
Yeah.
So why would you stray so far from what made that character have appeal in the first place?
Because
the reason you're willing
now,
to invest. No, we're not.
Right.
But we're not. This is
but
the
it doesn't
every
have
time
to
we
be
take the
a
survey,
negative.
we say we eat our vegetables. And we
it doesn't have to be a
think,
negative that she is sexy and comfortable in that.
Thank you.
Like that doesn't have to always be like, oh, she's a dumb bimbo type.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, because she never was. We were very aware this woman is smart, she's strong, she's fast, she's nimble, you know, all of the things. She just also looks good in camp shorts.
I didn't care
you know what I'm saying?
Hiking
I
boots.
didn't care how good Angelina Jolie looked when she was on that fucking zip line, fucking shooting them double guns, waving them out. That was badass. At that point, once you badass, I don't give a fuck nothing about your attractiveness. You are fucking killing shit right now. Like, you are appealing to my base animal. Like,
I love that.
Get the fuck up. Let's fucking go. Like, she looked good doing that.
Which is what they got wrong with Uncharted. Because, baby, I love me some Tom Holland. But, sir, you are not Nathan. Once they said Donnie Wahlberg was Sully, I just clocked right out of the movie.
Done.
I was
absolutely
like,
done. Holy fuck! Right? Thank you.
I was willing to.
Wow.
I was honestly willing to give that part a whatever, because I'm like, okay, if it's an Uncharted movie, it's going to be mostly Nathan Drake,
right?
And he'll be, Sully will be like a supporting character. He'll be somebody he calls from time to time. He won't even be in the movie that much. Right. We'll really just be following Tom Holland. Then I saw some of the other people that were cast, and I was like, okay, I can see how this can. And then I watched the movie, and I'm like, damn, this is the Mark and Tom show. Like, why is he in every scene? Like, this is not
Sully
about
is not this available.
Sully
is not this available. He has another deal going.
Tom Holland's American accent is a Mark Wahlberg impersonation. So it was just like Mark Wahlberg talking to himself.
Talking to Mark Wahlberg,
And Nathan Fillion is too old.
Yeah, because every time he talks, he goes into like he's asking a question.
They're both just like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? I was going in. It's like, bro, like somebody got to drop out of this movie because there was a lot of other really good
he's
talent.
Such a great character, and they had the perfect actor. And they were like, no.
I thought we're going to get a lot more
Spider-Man, who is way too young.
And I thought we were going to get all of the platforming, all of the gunplay, all of that good stuff. And even seeing the little trailer part where he was like waking up, an airplane hanging. I was like, we're going. And they got everybody hooked because of that. And we thought it was going to be just like the game. I don't know what the hell game they were playing. Yeah. They was not playing an Uncharted game.
They had the perfect.
But here's the reality of the situation. So I got a question.
You don't got to change nothing about the story.
It is such a good story,
right? How much of that game?
Any one of the movies,
right? Watching when you're playing Uncharted, and you gotta crawl on the outside, and you gotta crawl up through that window, and then you gotta wait, and you gotta get up, and you gotta find this, and you gotta crack right. All that portion of the gameplay. How well could that actually translate?
But they don't got to do that. They can just do a movie about an adventurer dude and his homeboy, and they looking for a treasure, and have him jump over pits and swim through infested waters and do all that Indiana Jones type stuff.
Now, who was your perfect actor?
That's literally the movie.
We've seen James Bond do stuff like that, where he had to quietly sneak through a hotel and get back to the baccarat table before they realized he was talking to the feds. Like. Yeah, not saying the whole movie has to be that, but like incorporating that aspect of the game into the movie, I don't think would be difficult. I think it's more like when you play Uncharted, which is a game I've seen played. I have not played myself, but it don't take that long to get to the getting. And we was in New York for a long time. We was bartending and doing all this weird sleight of hand magic.
Yeah.
Now you see me.
Yeah.
Where is the jungle, brother? Like, where is the treasure? Like, this is but yeah, for me the biggest hang up was like, this feels like Freaky Friday. Not Freaky Friday. What's the one with Lindsay Lohan and Parent Trap?
Parent Trap.
It feels like Indiana Jones Parent Trap. It's just because my whole thing was they kept talking about his brother, and I kept waiting for it to be revealed that Mark Wahlberg was secretly his brother somehow. Because I was like, y'all motherfuckers sound exactly alike. But that's me not
because you were not fucking Sully.
Right.
Because he wasn't Sully. Facts.
And I think they cast Tom Holland because
like
they were
70.
going for a franchise. Somebody sat down and was like, if we cast Nathan Fillion, we only going to be able to get one movie. If we cast Tom Holland, we can get 3 to 5 movies for the next 10 years.
Even if they had used Nolan North, if they had actually used the voice actor, Nolan North, who resembles Drake enough to be Drake,
right?
They could have gotten a couple of movies.
Actor, though.
Yeah, that's the question.
That's you.
He does a lot of voice work. Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of voice work, and I don't know. I can't speak to his.
I mean, what's the name was in The Last of Us, and he was good in that. The guy who does Joel, what was his name? His name.
Was it a cameo or was it like a major part? Because
he was in episode 8 with David. He was like his right hand man. He was in the whole episode, and he looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But that's different from hinging like $100 million budget on somebody for a whole franchise where you like.
True.
You're right.
We need to.
I still think they should have just cast Nathan Fillion and let the chips fall where they may. Drake did several adventures. He aged in the role. They could have been
made
like
Liam Neeson
the last one or whatever, you know.
Or
made
cast
Liam
him
Neeson
as the Mark Wahlberg role.
figure.
Yeah. And see, that actually,
no, how about just
not?
That just don't
that would have been a great
Wahlberg
role for Nolan North to have played. He could have been Sully, and he would have known enough about the material to hold the story together, and they could have told a cohesive story with an actual Nathan Drake, not the sleight of hand magic artist like you were talking.
Because I do love me some Tom Holland, and I get you don't want to just be Spider-Man. I get it. I'm not mad at him for taking the role. I'm mad at them for offering it to
right. That was a miscast. But see, that also ties back into where they have a title, Uncharted, which has sold millions of copies. Hell, Naughty Dog only has 5 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 5
Crash,
series. I was about to say they have 5 different series. Or
The Last of Us, Uncharted,
and
they have
the
a new one coming out.
Yeah, the Intergalactic, I think it's called, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, I did not know that Nora from The Last of Us is the main girl in Intergalactic.
Pretty self. I thought that was calling that beautiful girl masculine.
I don't know.
How is she masculine? She's so pretty.
Some dudes is just not comfortable with themselves. And if they see a chick with muscles, it makes them feel weird and tingly, and they don't know how to,
even big like
they don't know how to they don't know how to deal with it. I mean, she wasn't Abby big, but yeah. Nonetheless, and we'll get back to her. But when you have these stories that already exist, and Naughty Dog is very popular, Uncharted as a title is already huge on its own. You're going to get a certain number of butts in the seat just because that title is now live action.
Yeah.
For no other reason.
You're right. The plane sequence in the trailer.
So we immediately think we're about to be watching. This is going to be a collection of all of the cutscenes on film. Like, I get to watch that in the theater. That's what you're thinking it's going to be. And then you get there and it's nothing like that. And that's so disappointing. And it's so upsetting. But every once in a while, they get it right. Every once in a while, they take enough of the cues from the story. And as long as they get, like Jeff said, as long as they get the characters right,
Mm-hmm.
You can tell whatever story, and I'll believe that this is just a new adventure.
Right.
And I'm good with that. It could actually be one of the many adventures that this character has had, unless the game is like their origin or something like that. You know, it can be done, and it can be done so well. But when you stray away and you only go for the Easter egg feeling, the butts in the seats kind of situation, where it's like, we got Mario Brothers, so we got to have a guy named Mario, we got to have a guy named Luigi. There's a Bowser in there somewhere. Oh, something about mushrooms. Put that in there. You know what I'm saying? They have no clue what it actually is, but they're making sure to check off all the boxes, and they can't tie that together
Everything
cohesively.
on the cover.
Right. They can't tie that together cohesively. When stuff like that happens, you end up with something like Halo, where
something I love.
And here's the funny part. I watched both seasons. I will admit, it is not a bad story.
Yeah.
It is not a bad science fiction space adventure. Yeah. It just ain't fucking Halo.
Yeah. No, I still remember asking like why everybody was tripping about him taking the helmet off, and then I didn't know he never takes it off in the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also kind of look back and I say, you know what? That was the Band-Aid rip. That's all that was, because they were like, we're gonna do it. We have this other story we're trying to tell. Because even that story doesn't really, that is an adaptation. Tried and true, like full on adaptation. And sometimes I think it's very important. You have to look in the credits to see based on, inspired by. You have to look for those words, because that shit makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because if they paid for the license, they can do what they want to do with it, and they don't have to follow strict guidelines for this, that, and the other. They do what they want to do. Then you have situations where it's like The Witcher, and you can read the book and tell what's going on. And it's that, it's that close. And if they start to stray away from that, your main character is like, well, I've read all these books and that's not what happened. So what do y'all want to do?
Yeah.
And he goes and he walks away. And that's kind of what they did with Halo. The character
let me ask you a question about Halo. Do you think that the actual story of the game Halo would have actually made a good adaptation?
Not at all.
Right. So that makes sense.
And I accept that, because it is a super long and drawn out and unnecessary. Like, even the cutscenes in the game are boring as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Halo is super soldier, big gun, badass. That's what Halo is. And that's what Halo's always been. And it wasn't until, honestly, and anybody in the comments chat, feel free to correct me on this and give me your opinion on it. But nobody played the first Halo for like this major story. Halo 2 was something a little different. And it became more about the multiplayer, and everybody played through the single player campaign because it was part of the game and how you got good. Because learning those controls mapped over to playing the multiplayer. Halo 3 was, I think, the first time we actually kind of like realized there's this big narrative taking place. And I remember all the conversations that we had in 1 and 2 and how important Cortana is, and the generals, you start recognizing different people's names. And by the time you get to Halo 5, you're like a little more invested. But it also kind of falls with, like, I don't know how I would do with, say, a Call of Duty movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't just leave Call of Duty as a game. Like, let it be what it's always been for me, and I'm good with that. You try to turn this into a story. This story that they're telling has taken place over the course of like 50 years. You know what I'm saying? They got stuff that happened in the 60s. They got stuff that's happened during the 80s. And now they got stuff that's happening today. And then they go into the future and whatnot. You can't tell that story for Soap and Captain Price and Ghost. Like, don't just let that be, because you need 15 games to tell this story. You can't do it in 2 hours, and you can't guarantee a franchise just because it's called Call of Duty. You can't guarantee 6 movies because how you gonna put Black Ops in there and this and that? Because even and that's why like I can admit now I've had time to process fully. I can admit now, Halo is a good show.
Right.
It is a fantastic space action thing because when Master Chief go in, and they got that right. Like they got that right. They got that so right.
Yeah. Do you think people would have accepted it more had it been just like from the Halo universe and had it not been Master Chief specifically, but other characters that were like built in that same mold, but not specifically like the Spartans that you know from the game itself? You know what I mean?
I do, and I think again because there's so much time that exists in this Halo universe, they could have like plucked one of the stories out to tell that, or this could have been one of the missions that John 117 has done in his career, and we could accept that like this is an excerpt from his life. But to try to create a whole new narrative for Halo, it's hard to chew that and accept that because it has the name.
Right. Because I think they really were just like, we want to tell this story, but these Halo motherfuckers look cool, and we want to use this character design and these weapons, and we got the names and all this stuff like that. It's kind of like this is not a video game, but like Riverdale. Like Riverdale, like especially season 1, that's just a great like small town murder mystery story. Yeah. You could have put any names on that and it would have been cool. But with the CW, you know what I'm saying? Let's change this guy to Archie, Betty, Veronica. We got the whole gang. We throw Josie and the Pussycats there. They go to the high school too. You know, I was waiting for Scooby-Doo to show up at one point, but it's like sometimes like, you know, having worked in like, you know, IP and all that stuff, it's just really interesting hearing like executives at companies talk about IP as like, oh, we've secured this IP, which means we can use these names, use these characters, versus like we can tell these stories. And I think a lot of times like these companies acquire the IP to use the characters and use the names versus acquiring IP in order to like tell certain stories. And you just have to figure out what people are connected to when it comes to an IP. With Sonic, we're not really connected to the story. So we're connected to the character. So we can take Sonic and put him here, put him there, put him anywhere, as long as it's the Sonic that we know and love, and he likes chili dogs and he races fast and we got the rings and he tails, you know. If we got all that, I don't care where Sonic is because I'm going to enjoy that. But with Mario needs to be looking for the princess, saving the princess from Bowser, even though the movie, you know, flipped that on its head to a degree. There was an element, there was an aspect of that it recognized that this is what people are looking for. So even though we're not exactly giving you that, we're acknowledging that we know you're looking for that. And I think that with Halo, they kind of went in and they just glommed names on top of like this space epic story. And the audience was like, but this is not Halo. Like I came for Halo, which has a story. And I was just kind of like, I like it, but I ain't play Halo. So I get why.
I didn't play Halo either, so yeah, that's why.
But see, in some cases,
that's how I felt about Resident Evil. It very much felt like they had a story, and they were like, "Oh,
we could make this into Resident Evil," and
Jill
that's
Valentine.
Literally like,
all right,
change this character's name to that. Put this on. You know what? Let's change the name of the company to this, and you know, it's you have a generic story. Well, I won't say generic, but you have a pre-cut story. And now you're just going to take this, right? You're just going to like put this little skin on top of it and call it that and run with it.
Now you change medias. So because before we were discussing movies and the value of, game adaptations into movies, into full-length feature films. But Halo is a show. So now live-action shows, what would you say? I mean, I don't think there's a gigantic pool of
Twisted Metal was
live-action shows. Twisted Metal was fucking awesome.
Now, here's what's great about Twisted Metal.
Because you know why. You know.
Your man's is in it. What?
Your man's with the secret.
But let me tell you, you
could
probably look at him a little different after this because Quiet, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I say that as somebody who feels the exact same way as you do, and I pretty much watched it in one day. Like I couldn't.
Okay, wow.
It's an entertaining fucking show.
It's a really entertaining show.
Now, here's why I think Twisted Metal worked. You couldn't tell me what the hell Twisted Metal was about.
Thanks. I know the game though. I know the game.
I know the game. I've played the game. I've played the game numerous times.
Yeah, it's just
Twisted
a
Metal
demolition derby.
was my shit.
There you go.
But you know what the game was about? Destroy the other cars.
Yeah.
Right.
That was so they had the free reign to take that concept and create a story around that.
Right.
And because of that, I went in with no real expectations. And they made sure to check off the necessary boxes.
Yeah.
They put certain vehicles in there that I would recognize.
Thanks. To characters.
These things shot one another and shit happened and stuff blew up. And I was like, yeah, that's Twisted Metal. That's a cool story for Twisted Metal. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. The story didn't take itself too seriously, but the actors did take their role seriously.
Yeah.
And the writers
like that.
They took the plot seriously. So it's like
and you realize
that's why you
actually
could enjoy it,
prequel. It's like it's actually a prequel to like the game. So now season 2 is actually going to be more reminiscent of the games, but we understand why these motherfuckers is all shooting each other cars up and running into each other and stuff. I think I think also with Twisted Metal, it followed a format. Like this is where you can like kind of glom a game onto a format, which is like road trip show. It was on some like kind of Smokey and the Bandit type. I'm trying to get this package from point A
Cannonball
to point
Run.
B,
You gotta get
and
to
I have
the
all these obstacles in my way.
Okay.
So, and the character development was great. Yeah. So I think that, Twisted Metal, I mean, I'm sure when they created the game, there's probably a Bible that has like all the like world building in it that they used to create it. And when you read, like if you go back and open the little PlayStation books, I'm sure there's here's this person's story and this is how they got there. But like,
and that's where it was.
Play out
I
on
think
screen.
That was the expanse of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, but it is difficult to play that. And I think they did a smart job of making it a show. Like sometimes you're trying to do too much in too short a time. Like Uncharted, if we're going to spend all this time before we get to the jungle, this needs to be like 6 to 8 episodes. And we can have 1 or 2 episodes in New York where we're figuring things out. And then episodes 3 through 8, we in the jungle doing our thing. Because I would have loved to spend more time with, I forget her name, Tati something, whatever, the black girl with the finger waves. She's a phenomenal actress, and I would, but
what's her name? Is that that's not her.
You talking about in the game?
No, in the show, in the movie.
I'm sorry.
Tati.
Is she playing the same girl?
Gabrielle. She was Braddock.
Tati Gabrielle.
Okay. But she didn't play the girl from the game, that the black girl from the game. That's
Nora.
The merchant.
Oh no. Okay, so in the game, she was Braddock, but that was the character that I was just talking about. She's Nora in The Last of Us TV show.
Oh, okay. I don't know
the new main character in
Intergalactic.
the upcoming
Is that what it's
game.
called?
I think it's Intergalactic. I feel very, very confident that that's what it is. But she's
the new Naughty Dog.
Is that the one with the Asian with the ball head?
Yes.
Okay.
That's her.
Gotcha.
Tati Gabrielle. And like Brandy said, this woman's gorgeous. So I'm with you, Jeff. I would have
stunning.
We could have had
I was shocked
more
when
episodes
I recognized
with just
her.
Mm-hmm.
They said when the game teaser came out, people were like, "Oh my god, I'm not playing this. This is some woke BS. She's so masculine and ugly.
Yeah.
And why do they do that? They don't give us attractive people." And then I see this girl on the screen, and I'm like,
y'all obviously don't get no ass.
I mean, I understand that bald heads ain't for everybody, but come on.
Yeah, but she's a fucking killer. Like she's a
you got eyes like that,
like in the game.
A smile like
her
that.
whole backstory makes sense to why she shaved her head.
Slap that bald head. No.
And you acting like because her head is shaved, she's not attractive.
My bad.
Like that's okay.
There's people who
I got you. You ain't never had none. I got you.
Yeah, they.
You send a Valentine's Day cards to your hand. All good.
Anyway,
awesome.
But yes, Uncharted probably would have done well because I agree. Having a couple of episodes, especially given the way that they set everything up, if he was going to use this person and like, you have a skill set that I could take advantage of, and I need you to go do this thing. It just so happens that, you know, your brother, he's there and you could get places, and they had like a whole idea of how they wanted to go about it. If we had a couple of episodes where it's like, maybe Nathan wasn't a full-on adventurer and he had to learn the ropes of being an adventurer, and that's where he and Sully have like the whole montage of him, you know, learning how to do that type of thing. Then they go out into the jungle and it doesn't go well the first time, and they have to figure, and they did the same thing, but they condensed it down in such a way that it falls flat. You can't see it happen as character development. It's just the shit that's on screen. And it feels so rushed through that you don't even notice what's happening. Because at the end of the movie, when Drake was the one who like tricked the other guy, you know, it's like you see that that's the kind of thing that he's seen Sully do, and this is what this world of adventurers, this is how they are. So he's now coming into his own as an adventurer and knows how to, you know, trick the bad guy. We never really got a
call it young Nathan Drake. Call it that.
Right.
But don't call it Uncharted, because when we started playing Uncharted, we did not
Nathan
get no
Drake
backstory.
Yeah.
Right, about Nathan Drake. We
call
was
it Uncharted Zero.
You woke up on the damn plane and it was like, wait, what?
Get the hell out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that nigga know what he's doing.
Last time I checked, New York has a lot of charts and maps, and
right,
we spend a lot of time there.
I don't understand why
it's a grid system.
It doesn't make sense.
Chart.
We had National Treasure,
but y'all don't. You get but one fight at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
The whole rest of the movie is just finding in the training montage, you know, but no real fighting until like the last 10 minutes.
And even if you're gonna do a training montage, we had the whole movie with Michael Douglas's Catherine Zeta-Jones.
The Stone.
No. Catherine Zeta-Jones. Entrapment.
Oh, Entrapment. Yeah.
That's a training montage.
That movie.
Now that's a training montage. You're gonna do it and get stuck with
true.
it, having to learn. Then that's how you do it. You go about it that way.
Even like what's it? Live, Die, Repeat. Like him learning how to use like the mech suit and like kind of the over and overness of it. But I think that came across like somebody just being like, but how does he get on the plane? And now, you know what I mean? Like you go into an executive's office and you send them a script that starts with Tom Holland wakes up on the plane. He doesn't know where the hell he is. They're going to be like, okay, we need to know how Tom Holland gets here.
Why? And why? Because
I need to know. Because I need to know. Because I'm greenlighting this movie, and I don't.
Well, be Netflix. Be Netflix.
We can do a flashback later on in the show. Later on in the movie, we'll do a flashback to explain, or we'll do a little exposition to explain that.
Yeah, I like my movies in order.
You open up with that sequence, and then
rewrite it, buddy.
3 days earlier,
for no money.
Boom.
right, something.
That's
But
that's how you
don't.
get there.
I get like again. Plus, these characters again, when you have a game that is as established as Uncharted, and you have characters that are as established as Nathan and Sully, and I forget the wife's name, and I feel bad, but I forget her name, but bless her heart. And then you had even the spinoff with the two girls, the dark haired girl and the black chick. Remember they had the spinoff, and it was cute. Anyway,
Yes.
Right.
when you have those characters, you can't just have not funny, cocky, like quick on his feet Nathan Drake, because that's not Nathan Drake. You feel
Right.
me? Like
But
that's
you know
not
something?
Nathan.
The only person who probably could have wrote those Uncharted movies and those been good is canceled. So,
Is who? Oh,
he's canceled. So,
who?
what's his name?
Joss Whedon.
There we go. Josh Whedon. He's the only one who probably could have wrote those movies good. So
he's just a terrible person. That's so sad.
Yeah, he's
But
pretty.
it's, I mean, because again, with the Naughty Dog games, you're going to get a lot of dialogue and a lot of backstory, but not necessarily in the order that you think you're supposed to get them. That's part of the charm of a Naughty Dog game, is they'll plop you in the middle of a situation, and then you got to figure out what even is going on.
True.
Like, remember the beginning of The Last of Us? We didn't know what the fuck was going on. True. They explained it a lot better in the show than they did in the game. In the game, you wake up as Sarah and shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? You don't, they don't explain anything. You find out as you're going along. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think sometimes that's them trying to say, like, well, if people haven't played the game, they won't know what's going on. But it's like, but the people who played the game also didn't know what was going on.
Right, thank you.
They can figure it out. And
we have to play to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That point actually, I think, is where a lot of the video game movies over time in general have failed, because on the one hand, you're relying on the core audience of the game to be your base audience.
Right.
Yeah.
But you want to also appeal to people who haven't played the game so that they'll be interested. And you're hoping that the excitement of the people who have played the game will draw those other people in to say, oh man, that game was so great. Now they got a movie. I can't wait to see this movie. And of course, just that excitement kind of becomes infectious, and you're like, and what's it called again? And it's going to be good. Okay, well, yeah, I may check that out too. You get the buzz around it. It gets hyped, and boom, we get an Uncharted, because everybody who played the game could not wait to go see this movie. And then we saw this movie and we're like, well, that is so not the game. But even then, it's like an okay-ish movie. Like, it has its moments. Yeah. Because again, they checked off the boxes and they gave us those Easter eggs that we can pick out. Like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. So, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't suck, but it's like, it's just not what we wanted it to be for what it was, and for what it was called, for what it was based on.
As a fan of the games.
Right. And see, and I think, RG, that might be the case. Well, I don't know. You may have some other issues with staying in other TV show media. Devil May Cry. Now, this one was anime.
No. Because before we go on to anime, that's a whole nother thing, man. And y'all we've been dogging some shit out. Can we just give a little credit?
Oh, we can definitely get into it good.
To Fallout. To how
Fallout
good
was fantastic.
As a TV show, Fallout was like.
Yeah.
Fallout made people go back and play Fallout.
Fact.
Fallout was so good, people
Fallout
went back and started playing
crazy.
Fallout 76. And Fallout 76 is the worst Fallout game. It's still good because of the damn TV show. And the reason Fallout worked, first of all, in all of the different Fallouts, it is about this world that exists and these types of characters that are in this world. So you really just have a blank outline to work with. If you say a person is from a vault, we know what type of person that is. If you say a person is a ghoul, we know what type of person that is. If you say a person is a raider, a Brotherhood of Steel, power armor, as long as you say these, we know those things, not because of individual names or a specific character or anything like that, but just because they're a part of this world. So then you do kind of have the freedom to tell your own story that exists inside this world. But they did such a good job of adapting those things that we knew from the games into this live action that's now the new canon for how Fallout games are. And it's so accurate that people who watch the show were able to go and play the game and enjoy the game because it felt familiar going in. If you didn't play Fallout 3, you probably didn't jump on to Fallout 4. If you didn't play Fallout 4, you probably didn't play New Vegas. If you didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't,
Right.
Well, actually New Vegas came out before 4, but if you weren't a fan of one, you didn't keep going with the series. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you have one that you like more than others. Some people really like New Vegas over Fallout 4, etc. They change a few things. They always do that. So everybody has their favorite game. But in each of those games, there's a certain level of consistency with certain things. The way the settlements work, the way power armor works, the stim packs, the way you heal yourself, like all of these things that we've become so innately familiar with from the Fallout series, we saw every one of those things in this show. And they were correct. They were accurate. And it put us in the same mindset of, I mean, it was like playing the game. Like I felt like I had a control in my hand at some points. Like I had to choose the dialogue option. And that's what I would have said. I would have had a smart ass remark right there. Or, you know what I'm saying? I would have stolen those caps right there. And you see this kind of stuff. And it was, Fallout was so good. It was just so good.
And I think going back to like the conversation about for people who did not play the game, like I think we can tell when it ain't right. And we can tell when it is. Like even me as somebody who never played Uncharted, I could tell like this feels. It was like I'm watching this movie like this the game everybody was so hype about. But when I was watching Fallout, I was like, oh, this is interesting. There's like more and more and more layers. Like there's you and because you're not telling me like exactly every little thing with all this exposition in the beginning and explaining what's going on and explaining the mission and over explaining and making sure if you haven't played the game, this is what you need to know. It's like, bro, just let's go. Because if I was playing the game, you wouldn't be telling me all this stuff. You would just be making me experience it. And when I'm watching the show, I'm experiencing this. Like I didn't know what the hell a vault was.
What?
Like I'm sure when you played the Fallout game, did they say this is the vault? You blah 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 blah, and you have to yada 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 yada. Like I don't want to watch a show. They do.
Yeah.
Funny,
but there's a vault explanation.
But it is done almost the exact same way that it was done in the show.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Like
very tongue in cheek.
It was very accurate. Like
right. It was a stylistic thing that like the people in the show are also watching. Right. Like as opposed to like the movie or the show is explaining to me what's going on because I can't pick up on context clues.
Right.
It's like, well,
that's my thing.
If the people in the show need to know, then yeah, explain it to them and I'm there listening. But if you're not explaining it to them, don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Like
that I call it the Deadpool effect because how many times does this have to happen where a director or something comes out and it's like, just trust us to tell this story the way we want to tell this. So we're not going to put all the exposition up front. This is going to work because this is a good story, good character, good whatever. Well, I don't know. It's not a tested property. We don't know. We don't want to put any money on. And then every time, it feels like every single time they allow people to do what the fuck they're going to do, it's a hit.
Yeah. It's almost like if you let artists If you let creators create, they can make something good.
If
When
you
you
let
let
an
business,
artist
when you let business
be
people dictate
artistic.
stuff, then the shit come out bad. Cause
Right.
you know business.
Yeah.
I know creating stuff. So you go over there and do business.
Like,
Like you take what I
creation.
make and do business with it.
I think
You know
another
what?
thing
Let me
with
go make this
Fallout that
money
made
and you flip
Fallout.
it. How about that? We'll make another
There
movie.
you go. I think one of the things that helped make Fallout successful, that I wish they would do more shows about these types of games, and it's also another reason why Halo, I feel, is also a great show. When the game is open world, technically there's no story. There's lore, but there's no story. There's no linear progression to the game.
Yeah.
Right? So in Fallout, there's no linear progression to the game. It's you walk around, you meet this person, you see this thing, this happens to you. And that's why the show made sense. Because technically that's how it is in the game. Kind of wander around, shit randomly happens to you, and then you get more and more and more pieces of the lore and what's going on. Those type of shows, those type of games translate better into good shows. Because
I never played that. Is it like BioShock?
No.
No, because BioShock is definitely more linear.
BioShock has objective, and it is you're here, you have to get here and complete the story. Yeah. Technically, like Fallout has a main quest.
Right.
And in one of the main quest is you are looking for your father.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is random vault dweller.
But it's optional as shit. You can have 50 hours on Fallout and never do that quest.
100%. And that's why I said it's the main quest. I didn't say it was
like GTA.
You have to do
exactly.
See, now to that point, do you think something like a Grand Theft Auto, is that something that you could make into a movie with the open world concept?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, you're justifying a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
no. I'm just saying in the open world concept.
I don't think that the lore of Grand Theft Auto is confining enough, because in Grand Theft Auto you can be anybody and anything, versus like Fallout where it's like you're a vault dweller, which means like yes, there's variations in how you can be a vault dweller, but there's limitations as well. Versus like if I play there's people who play Grand Theft Auto as cops, so.
Well, think about the storyline.
I don't want to see a Grand
What
Theft
about the
Auto
direct storyline as opposed to the online GTA? Because you're talking about the online GTA.
But who plays that?
I mean, most people.
Most people
do not
play
story. Do not get me wrong. I have beaten every single Grand Theft Auto.
GTA is popular because of what?
But
Vice.
I was just sitting here thinking about like, what if they did like a Red Dead Redemption? And I don't know that I would want that. I don't know that I would want that.
I think Red Dead Redemption
and I
would
love
probably go.
But what about Witcher?
Witcher was good as long as Henry Cavill was on it.
Very true. Not gonna.
And even then,
he can't be in Grand Theft Auto.
Well, no.
No, I mean, like I think with Red Dead Redemption, to me right off the rip, that's a TV show because there's a lot of story you can cover. And you can do some side stories that weren't in the game if you want to write some original storyline.
Multiple seasons.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could be multiple seasons.
You'd have to do
it would have to be because you have to do two
an anthology
first.
Series.
Yeah. You have to do Red Dead Redemption 2 before Red Dead Redemption 1.
I hope y'all heard that. Please clip that and make sure.
It would have to be an anthology.
Suggestion.
Either each episode is like all these different people who live in the Grand Theft Auto world or live in the Red Dead Redemption world, or one season following like one person's story and then another season following another person's story. Because I do think the popularity of those games, yes, people do play the story, but
wait.
there's the freedom in those games that people enjoy, the open world play. Like if I want to just go out and be a coonskin trader in Red Dead Redemption, I can do that.
I used to log in and go fishing, and I'm not even
Right.
joking.
But are you going to go on Hulu and watch?
Ain't even mad.
Facts. Spent 5 hours as somebody trying to find a legendary fish. No.
Right. Right. But you can see that for
an
episode.
I was she.
There you go.
That'd be a good episode.
I just mean like the thing that is so great about those games are the random things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I gotta go to this mission, right? So I'm getting on my horse and I'm going to this. I have an objective to get there, but on the way there, I done ran into a man. His leg is in the alligator trap, and then somebody tried to rob me, and then I had to shoot a deer because I finally seen a buck, and by the time I get to where I was going, I forgot why I was going
lost
there.
their horse.
But then there's the people who log in and they want to be the man with the black hat.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily just want him to show up as a villain. We might want to have an episode where it's like, all right, this is the man with the black hat, and this is his get down. And he coming into town, he kicking ass, he taking name, and he wins at the end of the episode because some of them gamers, when they get on that bad guy stuff, they win.
The appeal of the game is not the story. The appeal of the game is the universe.
The appeal of the game is the freedom to do. Being able to do what you want to do and having an open world in which to do it. Having a sandbox to build your castle is what makes these games great. And your castle doesn't have to look like my castle. And I love the anthology idea. In fact, I think we need to stop talking about this as a concept because we giving somebody $1 million fucking.
Well, we ain't gonna make it, so let them do it. Let me be a fan. Let them be a fan. Let us be a fan.
Whew. But
I will say,
I'm dead serious.
I'll be the blacksmith.
Right.
Name a character.
Wait.
I'll play Philly.
Brady's gonna be the one fishing. No, Brady's gonna be the one fishing. Jeff's gonna be the coonskin trader, and
I'll be the old man.
I have hunted. I have done.
Oh yeah.
Found the dinosaur bones like that. I still have not completed that game.
Yeah, I have not beaten Red Dead Redemption 2. I've not beaten the game because once they have the online,
but I haven't beat the game.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't beat the story because once the online became available, I hadn't finished it at that point. And I started playing online, and I just got swept up in the online.
Yeah,
and it was like I would have to go back and spend about a month getting re-familiar with the locations and what I did and I mean, hell, I might even be at the point. No, I'm too far in to start over, but but there are times where if I put a game down for too long, I'll just delete and start over because I won't remember the stuff I need to know.
Yeah.
And now, so Red Dead Redemption, fantastic. Fallout.
Come on, you want to talk about it because I'm wondering how long it's going to take y'all to get to it.
To get to The Last of Us?
Yes, finally. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not the only person on here.
Anime.
I am and I wasn't even saying anime. It was an. Have you ever played Devil May Cry?
I have not. I watched my ex-husband play it, but I have not personally played it. But I did watch him play, and then because aren't there a couple of them? And then there was another series that was very similar to Devil May Cry as well. Blood.
There's a
something.
Couple.
Yeah.
There's
he played
that are like that.
All of them
shooting slashers. So The Last of Us. Personally, I think it's a fantastic adaptation and a great show. I think both things are true there. I don't think they missed on either mark there. I was initially, I don't think hesitant is the right word. I was curious about the casting when I first heard about it, when season 1 dropped, and Bella Ramsey. I was like, oh, that's the girl from Game of Thrones. Okay. That was the extent of it. And then after seeing her in a couple of the episodes, okay, let's go. It was fine. I didn't have any qualms with it. I thought everything worked well. Pedro Pascal as Joel, I think, was excellent casting. And of course, the big laugh with, especially like with season 1, the big laugh that he's just daddy everywhere because he's Joel in Last of Us, and of course he's Mandalorian with Baby Grogu. So it's just like if daddy got to take somebody somewhere, I guess call Pedro Pascal. But this second season, why did they end like that? I was just
because technically the game, that is where the game splits.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they should have shown. I think they should have ended on the gunshot. I don't think they should have shown that it was again Seattle day one and now we're with Abby just yet. Because in the game, the it goes black and you come up and that's when you find out who Abby is, who her father was, and what happened. Right. I wish they would have done that because I don't like that they revealed who she was and who her father was at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Because part of hating Abby is because we don't know why she did what she did.
Yeah.
We don't know why. We know that they're fireflies, but we, as a gamer and as Ellie, we think it's because of us. We think it's because Joel killed everybody and they want me. Ellie didn't know about Joel killing and that being Abby's dad. I don't think Ellie ever knew that. Throughout the whole game, she never knew that.
Yeah, I was about to say they didn't outline it the way they did in the series.
Right. And I wish they would have kept a bit more mystery to Abby in the series. I think it would have I think it would have played better not knowing about, because we don't need to know that in order to go after her. You feel me? We don't need to know that was her dad. Not to be funny, but at that moment, fuck her dad. Fuck everybody. Fuck all her friends. Anybody she's connected to, the sky, whoever cut her hair, fuck all of them. We come into Seattle.
Record label and crew.
Listen, we come into Seattle and we come in a rec shop and we think it's like 15 of y'all up here. But we don't know we're walking into a war. We don't know we're walking into fight an army of people. And I feel like we should have, that was part of uncovering things in the game was part of it. The conversation between Joel and Ellie. Save that. I don't want to know that yet, because as impactful as that episode was, and Pedro is, as usual, amazing, it had so much more impact at the end. After everything you went through to find out that this whole time we thought they never spoke. But they did have that moment, and that made it even more heartbreaking because the next day he died. You know what I mean? Like, there were emotional beats. The Last of Us 2 is one of my favorite games. Top 5 favorite games of all time. And part of the feeling of why I love that game is the emotions that game invoked in me. I've never played a game that really made me feel real emotions like that. Not even the first one. And I was all in the first one, but the second one took me on a journey. And I feel like they cut some of the emotional impact out of the journey by revealing the cards a little bit too soon. Because the rage we feel as Ellie about Abby, we don't know that, finding out that this is why Abby did what she did is a pivotal moment in the game. Because that's the moment when you start to feel a little empathy for Abby. Like, all right, okay. I don't like what you did, but I understand why you did it. You know what I mean? And now let's get to know Abby.
Yeah. Yeah. And having that moment to reflect. It's the creative liberties that they take to be more universally appealing, because I'm sure like we've been talking about, not everybody who's a part of making this series sat down and played the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, some executive that signed off had to be told the story and wasn't going to sign the check unless we did that in episode whatever. You know what I'm saying? like somebody somewhere made that business decision as opposed to allowing the story to go. The plus side, I believe, is that The Last of Us is fortunate to have the actual writer.
Right, Neil.
No, you had Neil Druckmann involved.
Right.
Yeah, like having him so close. That's the only reason I think it has managed to stay the course and remain impactful and keep the same intensity and emotion.
The beats,
for
everything.
2 seasons.
They hit these notes that are the notes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to see Ellie on the dinosaur. I wanted to see the space capsule scene. You know what I mean? Like they hit the beats, and I wasn't mad about the way the story itself, because I think it's an amazing story. But I think get why they did what they did. Like some of it made sense. Like give the settlement an attack, a zombie attack. Because one of the things that never made sense in the game was Ellie going to Tommy like, and we're leaving, and he's like, oh, we can't spare the men. Like, I don't know if we can go. And they had that exchange, and then Tommy leaves. Well, in the show, they explain they can't spare the people. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I felt like they did a good job of kind of sewing up that loose end, because that was something that bothered me in the game. Like, he wouldn't be like that. He would be ready to go. You know what I mean?
That's his brother. Like, yeah.
Right.
And again, I think having the writer there, having the creator on hand to make the necessary adjustments to his story, to keep the same impact that he wants you to get from this character, from that character, as opposed to somebody who came in and said, I played this game, I thought it was great, let's make a movie about it, let's make a TV show about it. And they're trying to adapt someone else's work. He's assisting and adapting his own work so he can remember, this was a big point, this was a big point, I wanted emotion at this scene and at that scene. And I think even the reveal, I'm with you as far as when I was like, why did they end it that way? I think if they had ended at the gunshot, that would have pissed everybody off. Because those people who hadn't played the game wouldn't have known anything, and that would have been like the worst cliffhanger in history. And they was just like, we can't do that because checks got to be signed the next day.
The rage, I know, but I think it would have been great.
And so I think for that reason, that's where it does make a good creative choice to show that there's more to it. Now, I don't think the day one Seattle has the same effect because we already know who Abby is.
Right.
And I do agree that part is a little thrown off because when we watched the episode at the ski lodge, my wife was immediately like, oh no, what? And then when she hears, she's like, oh yeah, he did kill everybody. And I was like, you shouldn't be. And I was like, you shouldn't be there.
Feeling that. Right.
I was like, you shouldn't be there.
Right.
And she was like, what? I was like, because at this point, it's just like Joel is just supposed to get murdered and we got to go chase Abby. That's all we know. But yeah. And of course it was like, and now that I'm hearing you say it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what and I was just like, we shouldn't be here. Like we got to peek behind the curtain a little too soon, so it ruined the surprise of Seattle day one.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also is a necessary evil for the casual viewer to justify this random violence we're seeing against a character that we have been with for an entire season and have such high hopes and expectations.
We didn't have that cushion.
And I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
And I will agree. We didn't have that cushion. We didn't. But remember, when they go to make these shows, we are the base of the fans. Yeah. We are the automatic seat fillers. They know we're coming. They got to get my wife to sit down. Now
but I feel like it's insulting the audience.
3 of the Uncharted, but she didn't sit for Last of Us.
Why does the casual need that information immediately? Why can't the casual viewer There are plenty of shows that you find out the ending early, and you're trying to figure out why is it ending this way. Why does this have to be any different? Why can't we just? Why, God damn! Why we love Joel? Why is this? Why is she killing him?
Why is
What
this
the fuck?
like
why
the
is,
shock
right?
and the emotional weight of his death is not knowing
Yeah,
who these people were.
right. Us
We
as
don't
game
know.
players, think of it from the experience of when you experienced it as a game player. You had no idea, and it made you more involved in the whole revenge plot.
Right.
All right, fucking Ellie, get this fucking girl. She killed Joel. She killed you. Get her. Why? How is that as a show not as compelling? Right? Why would that? Not,
it
yeah,
was
I
my
agree with you,
nitpicks.
Brandy. Yeah, that's a
Visually,
major
the
flaw.
game, the show, again, visually, I mean, there's scenes in that dang on show that are like
The zombie attack is
lifted
spectacular.
straight out of the game. I mean, from
Yeah.
again, the kissing scene. Why is this in the first episode? This didn't need to be in the first episode. This didn't happen until, you know what I mean? We don't need to. That's just the purist in me because I love the game. They did a good job on the series. I'm not saying they didn't.
Right.
The shots, the fight was set, everything was picture perfect. The casting, I love Dina. It took me a while because that ain't my Dina, but she's Dina, and I'm not mad at it. And Jesse was perfection.
Jesse was
I
perfect.
couldn't have picked a better person than this kid. And like to the point where when he showed up in Seattle, I like teared up because I know it's gonna happen to you. Like I know it's gonna happen and I don't want it to happen, but it's gotta happen. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta happen.
What?
I always
Yeah.
say Jesse is the only innocent person in the entire game. He's the only innocent person in that game that acted completely selflessly and just was trying to do the right thing. Everybody else was driven by hate and vengeance, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still don't like everybody's talking bad about Bella. Oh, Bella looks like a potato. Oh, she this, that, and the third. I got into it with this man online because he was like, well, she was feminine. And I was like, Ellie was never feminine. Anybody who says she was never played the games. I said in game one, she was a tough tomboy. And in game two, she was a butch. When the hell was she this soft and feminine person that y'all claim Bella Ramsey just isn't? And also, she was 14 in the game, bro. Why does she need to be pretty for you? But that's a whole nother conversation.
That was
But
the
Abby,
part I was going to tell, but okay, yeah.
that's not my Abby. That's not my Abby.
That is.
She's okay. I think she got the emotion right, but just even the scene where they showed her like beating Joel, I'm like, ma'am, you're 115 soaking wet. That's not my Abby. My Abby could knock a tree over with one freaking punch.
Yeah.
I need to believe she's beating Joel. You feel me? Like, nah.
They definitely
ain't Abby.
They missed the mark on that one, and even with the emotional weight that she was able to bring to the character, I think a lot of what made Abby a better villain in the game was her imposing nature.
Yes.
Abby's
knocking doors down, bro.
I wouldn't waste time on this little you know what I'm saying? Like, I just have, you know what? I just have Tommy take her out from across the way and we'll move on and go about our business. I don't need to get up in her face. I just need her gone. She ain't nobody.
I'm just saying, I'm supposed to believe she took Tommy down. I'm supposed to believe a confrontation at the end of this between Abby and Ellie, where Abby breaks Ellie's arm with her hands.
Right.
I really feel like this. I feel like Bella could take this actress out.
Thank you. Like, for real. Like,
and not just on the video game part. I mean, like, that is one thing I do like about Bella's casting as this character. She has a surprising amount of physicality for this character. And when you play the game, Ellie does a lot. Like she is just on go and of course it's a video game, so you don't have to do some of the different things, you health potion and you just keep going. So it's like it is
She
always
talks about it like in her
on go.
she's wiry, she's on edge, she's not sleeping, she's just driven. She's
Yeah.
all wire. She's all like bone and sinew. You know what I mean? She's not
Yeah.
eating. She's just tight anger. Like that's why she's able to even fight Abby. Because in another real world, Abby would punch her face off. Like, you know?
Because Ellie was this little, she was just this little slim chick who had to go through some stuff and
like that they had different combat styles. When you played as Abby versus playing with Ellie, you could tell you were playing with two different.
Quiet. Yeah, Ellie was stealth and quiet.
These are two different styles, two different, right.
Abby's like haymaker, 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 pick up shovel, haymaker.
Punching people's heads into the ground, like.
Yeah.
But the thing is, season one, a major difference too is also the second game. The criticism of the second game was you got rid of Joel, right?
Yeah.
We fucking love Joel.
Right.
However, the character of Ellie, we love a good revenge plot. Give me a nice little, fucking Kill Bill and fucking post-apocalyptic world. Awesome. Bella Ramsey lacked the naivety of the first Ellie, right? Like Ellie is a child. And we watch her go from this sort of optimistic because you ain't out here seeing how wild this shit is.
Right.
Person to hear you with this motherfucker that's like, look, I've been through some shit. It ain't all fucking rainbows. You better be ready to stab that motherfucker. You better ready to shoot that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had to become this really rough person. In the second one, we saw that in the game, you see the progression. You see her become fucking, all right, you acting like that's a Joel move. Right? Her making the tough decisions.
Yeah.
In the show, not as much.
Well, no, in the show, Dina's the smart one. Dina's making all the moves. Dina's doing the planning. And I'm like, Dina was the sidekick.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like,
I love Dina, but Dina wasn't.
Yeah, right.
Dina was the Sherpa. She was the backpacker to hold the extra stuff to like assist. But I think that is
something I noticed.
I think that has a lot to do with when you play a video game, you have the concept of playable character. You have main character, and for the most part, you typically go through a game and you only control one or two people throughout the game. Games like Grand Theft Auto are the exception, where you're switching between various people and you can go that storyline, but for the most part, even in The Last of Us, you play 90% as Joel. Well, 75% is Joel, and then there's 25% of the time you have to switch over to control Ellie and do a couple of things that way. When you get to the second one, it's 60%, probably still about 70% Ellie, and then you have like one or two times where you control some other things, and then you have this other half of the game where you're doing the other way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like those two pieces meet back. But here in this TV show, you have all of these important characters.
Right.
It's not just, everything is not just from Ellie's perspective. We're following Joel just as much. We're following Ellie just as much. And now this Dina character, she's pretty interesting and she's a fan favorite and da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Jesse was perfect casting. I could have done a whole episode with Jesse just damn because, and so it's like when you have those types of things, it does alter the perspective. And I think that's why we're seeing some of these creative shifts. And I absolutely get what you're saying. It is weird watching Dina and Ellie together. It's just weird watching them because it feels like this is still season 1 Ellie. And it's not until she returns to the theater after Nora that we're starting to get game 2 Ellie.
Yeah.
And I think from the standpoint of like, we've got 1 full season, we've now got a 2nd season,
and then a 3rd, and I'm like,
right? Can we get? Because I mean, there's only 2 games, so there's a finite amount of story.
Well, the 2nd season is going to be Abby's story with her and Lev and Yara, and that whole situation, and then the last season, I guarantee, is probably going to be Ellie going back to get Abby and the Rattlers and everything that was going on then. Yeah. I don't need another season of that. I didn't need, you know what I'm saying? I don't need, I don't know, because I don't have an emotional attachment to this. The first season I have watched other people watch it. I love watching the reactors react to it. There's episodes that I literally are embedded in my brain. I love them so much. I did not get that feeling this season.
You killed off the best character, the best thing about the games.
I love Joel, and I knew Joel was going to die, but the episode with Bill and what's the name? That didn't have nothing to do with Joel and Ellie. You know what I'm saying? That was probably my favorite episode of the season. I didn't get that piece of humanity. I just didn't get the same feeling. I fully expected Joel to die. I thought he was going to die later in the season because I was like, they're not going to waste Pedro. But then when I saw how they were going, I was like, okay, they're going to follow the game. But losing Joel was terrible. However, I understand.
Yes.
And in this world, when you do messed up things come back, and revenge it's never ending, which was the whole point of the game. Like at the end of it, it's just futile because how I kill you, now Lev is coming after me. Then whoever is going after Lev, like when does it end? But Joel did bad things.
But that is
as
the
much
appeal.
As we love him.
That's the appeal of the game, though, right?
What he did was messed up, and actions have consequences, right? So
and that's really what it is. Actions have consequences, and we see that in all of these different things. Because, like, even the whole story with Eugene and the way that played out,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, going back to see the story with Bill when we got Bill's episode, but then later on when we see Joel come to the house and he finds the letter. You know what I'm saying? That's addressed to Joel from Bill. Like, that's something that they were able to take this little bit and stretch it out into a whole episode. Right. And it really does feel like, Neil Druckmann said, hey, this was a thing I always wanted to do, and now I have a vehicle to do it. And so we got a full episode of Bill.
Because how do you tell that story in a game? You can't.
Right. True. And that's why I'm like,
I would the episode with Eugene, I would have done a whole episode of just Jesse, Dina and Jesse, and just kind of watching their whole dynamic, because even in the game initially I was like, he's not okay with it. And they never really explained why Jesse was kind of like, I don't give a damn. Until the show, when they're like, he hadn't really been feeling her for a while, but this is his role, and this is,
Right.
I needed more of that. More of the like the Eugene. I said it, and I said it on my page, and I'll say it again. If Joey Pants does not get an Emmy nomination for that scene, I'm gonna be shocked, because that was beautiful.
Don't they have a category for best special
guest supporting or something? Because that's how what's the name won for episode 3. Ron Swanson. Yeah. So I really, because it was just it was so
contribution to this segment.
I mean, it's 2 whole seasons. You could go and watch it.
Yes,
2 whole seasons.
So Joey Pants did this scene, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I thought it was because in the game she went to the hospital and found out the information, right? But I thought that explained so well why Ellie was mad at Joel, because in that moment she knew he had lied, because he lied so well, and she saw his face, when she's like, you swore. It wasn't about that. It was about, you
Oh yeah.
swore about what happened at that damn hospital.
So
I loved that reveal, as opposed to, well, she ran off and rode her horse from Wyoming back to, not Seattle, where were they? Utah, by
yeah.
herself, to go to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, come on,
Mhm.
game. why, why was she do? She was like 17. Come on, game. She made it all the way from Wyoming to Utah.
I
And
mean, she
Joel
been
was like
raised by.
right behind her because he knew she was going to Seattle. He just knew that's where she was going or whatever.
What a
Yeah.
Come on.
coincidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Fancy meeting you here. And how random. Just so happened to be going to Salt Lake this weekend. No, but I thought oh, that was such, when he was looking out over the lake and I knew Joe was gonna shoot. I was like, oh no.
I'm
Felt
gonna tell
so
you what.
bad.
I'm gonna tell you what made it hurt even more was not hearing the gunshot, but just seeing the birds
The
fly.
birds. Oh, and then coming
It's
back and
like,
lying in that woman's face. She better than me because I would have never been giving that man therapy. You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here asking me
It's a
for
terrible
help.
time. It's a terrible
I don't care
time.
if I'm the only therapist in town. You go to hell.
Terrible time. Terrible time.
so I don't know. We've definitely covered some of. Okay, well, real quick because I just want to ask on Last of Us adaptation. What would you score it as far as adaptation versus how would you score it as a show?
As an adaptation, I'm going to give it a 5. As a show, I'm giving it this season a 7.5.
Okay, I was leaning. I'd say 6.5 on adaptation. I give it a solid 8 as a show. RG.
Adaptation, I am probably giving it a 7. As a show, the fucked up problem is I gotta rank them differently, right? Season,
Right.
because season 1 is definitely an 8, and
Yeah.
season 2 is definitely a 5. So,
Okay, I get it. Okay.
overall, I
Yeah.
guess I gotta go with a 6.5. So
No, that's not inaccurate. And I mean, I think honestly, it is probably this is one of those because it is such a major game. I do think everybody's individual connection to their playthrough
mhm.
directly affects how they feel about this series. Because although
I
there's
just
certain
knew it
things,
wasn't going to, because people hate part 2. There's people who only got to the
right?
point with Joel and never played the rest of the freaking game. There
Exactly.
was terrible rumors about the game before the game even came out that weren't true, about certain sex scenes and all of this. And like, I'm very protective of the game because I feel like if you play the game objectively, you
Mhm.
Yeah.
will like the game. You know what I mean? I don't know. So
So many
maybe
people have
that's
a hard
why.
time. So many people had a hard time putting themselves in both roles. And
Right.
like you said, you had to be objective because we came in, as RG pointed out, this is a revenge story. And we've been playing Abby. I mean, we've been playing Ellie, and we know this character. We like this character. We're going to get this girl.
Facts.
And then you realize that that's just the world
You
you live in,
realize
chick.
that if the story was told from Abby's perspective, Joel and
From a
Ellie would be the
certain
bad
point of
guys.
view. From a certain point of view. Yep. That is okay, we could probably keep going on and on about some of this stuff, but I think we've covered a good number of video games, good, bad, mediocre, etc. What would everybody gets to pick one? What would be something you would like to see adapted? And I'll throw something extra. What medium would you see it adapted? So take a video game, and how would you like to see that adapted? movie,
Jeff,
series.
haven't heard your
All right,
sultry
Jeff.
voice in a minute.
I ain't had shit to say about Last of Us. I was just listening. I'm
Do
gonna
you
go
hear the
old
passion?
school.
You should watch it.
I'm gonna go old school.
Mm.
Side scroller, Streets of Rage, and I would make
Oh.
it a movie, and it would just
Mm.
be like think warriors just trying to get from one side of town to the other,
To the other.
and it's just a classic beat 'em up. We start with the main character, and along the way we pick up the rest of the gang, and I don't know how we gonna tie in the big boss or whatever because I don't really know the story there. I just know, you're beating people up in the street as you
With
go from level to level.
Mayor Hagar in Central City and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think and I don't make it sexy, like keep it like I want it to look like the original Ninja Turtles movie. And I almost
gritty.
wanted to
Dark
be a
and
period
dirty.
piece, like
Dark
set it
and
in
dirty.
the 90s. Like let me see
Yeah.
some mullets and make it realistic as to why it might just be some switchblades laying on the street that you can pick up. Like that ain't happening right now. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
definitely think I would be interested in seeing something like that because one, I miss side scrollers. Like I know they're bringing one back. I think they're bringing the X-Men one back soon, but I just feel like once games got open world, that's where the gaming left me behind because my spatial awareness inside a video game, I can't handle it. Like once stuff start happening behind me and I gotta spin around and then spin back, I don't know where I am. So show me everything. But I do think just a good beat 'em up movie would be cool. Cause I mean, they're gonna do all the kid stuff. And they're gonna do all the newer, I think, PlayStation stuff. But I think some of those old Sega and arcade games really gonna get left behind because people don't really know how to adapt that kind of stuff. But I think it could work.
Streets of Rage.
Mm. I would like that.
I would check that out.
I'd watch it.
Oh fucking yeah.
Casting would be important on that because I need to see some people that can actually fight. That would be key. So okay, cool. You know what? I'm gonna put a little star by that for that reason. RG. So she was throwing people under the. No, I'm just
Wow.
You call Jeff out. Like, what is there a video game that you've looked to see adapted that hasn't been adapted yet? That you
fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, just pick one. I
only got one, and I can literally probably get about 4 movies out of this one series. I got to be honest, Elder Scrolls. I would love the Lord of the Rings fan in me would love to see an Elder Scrolls movie. Right? You can pick Oblivion.
I am not mad.
You can pick Skyrim. You can pick Morrowind. I don't give a shit. I have devoted thousands of hours of my life to that goddamn game. I want to see somebody make dragons big on screen. And I want to get somebody called Dovahkiin, and I want to see all of that. And yeah, I would fucking love a fucking Skyrim fucking movie. I would absolutely love it. The lore is, it's right. It's Dungeons and Dragons. It is everything right up my alley, man. That I would just absolutely love.
I'm not mad at that suggestion. That is Morrowind, Oblivion with the rift gates opening up. Yeah. But I need at least one person in the background just jumping. I need them to be trying to level up their athleticism to 100 by just jumping everywhere.
Why does that dude keep shooting the bear? I thought y'all were friends. Why are you slicing?
Khajiit has coin if you okay. Khajiit has where if you have coins. Okay, that's I like that. Elder Scrolls. And you know what? If you just do them in order, do Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim.
The lore is there. Go ahead and
Okay.
write it out.
Movie or TV show? You said movie, and we're getting like 4 of them.
I want movies. I want movies. I want
Big
three.
grand
I want 3
spectacle.
movies. I want 3 movies and an Amazon series.
You trying to compete with Lord of the Rings? Okay, I got you.
That's what I
mean.
want.
You said it. You said
on Netflix. I'll take Netflix too, or Apple.
I know Amazon.
I just don't want it on Paramount.
I got you. Yeah. Brandy, what would be a video game that you would like to see adapted? I'm just making up words. What would be a video game you would like to see adapted, and what medium would you put it in?
I'll choose one. And I'll go from the same year and say Ghost of Tsushima and as a movie.
Ooh. That would be a beautiful film.
God damn,
that's got to be IMAX, big screen, with the expensive cameras and the extra real.
And the guy who played Jesse could play Jin Sakai.
Look at you casting it already. I'd watch that just because he's in it.
God, yeah, good choice for a movie. Jesus Christ, that game is beautiful. Are you writing the email?
I am writing. No, I'm writing.
Wait a minute. I believe my
I'm about to send this to Sony right now.
In a damn minute.
No. I look. Ask Jeff. I be writing my notes, and I have them here. You spend a day. I went through a whole notebook. For mine, I would say this is one that I've wanted to see for a very long time, and I would probably be okay with a series at this point. And I'm definitely going Amazon Prime, almost in the style of like a Jack Reacher. But I want Splinter Cell. I want Sam Fisher with the Fifth Freedom. I want to see that. And I just want it to be the silhouette of a man's face with 3 green dots. Coming soon. That's all I want. And there's enough story there, but the thing about it, like, Third Echelon, they don't even have to take the existing game. They could write a completely new story for Sam Fisher, because Sam Fisher's that dude. He's on the level of like a James Bond, go anywhere, do what he wants. And I think it just opens up so much opportunity, and I think it'd be a hell of a movie, hell of a TV show, hell of a series. So, given that I want multiple, I'm going TV show so that I can have new episode to watch every week at least. Let it last.
That's damn good. Can I pick everyone's brain real quick?
What's up?
Okay, top 5. Regardless of the media, regardless of how they did it, top 5 video game to whatever, movie, show, anime, cartoon, top 5.
In no particular order, I can tell you.
No order whatsoever.
Cyberpunk, Edge Runners, The Last of Us, the Sonic franchise, and Castlevania. Was that 4 or 5? That was, let's see, Castlevania, Sonic franchise,
that's 4.
Last of Us, Edge Runners. And I would say for the last one, I don't know if this one technically counts, but what was it was an anthology series that just came out.
Arcane?
No.
Holy fuck. Wow, yeah.
It was the one that had Pac-Man, Mega Man.
I know what you're talking about. It was on Amazon.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm genuinely shocked you didn't say Fallout.
Fallout's gonna do its thing. It's
I
definitely
know
gonna
what
do
you
its thing.
the Amazon anthology series.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be the other one. Just because I think you have an opportunity to get a lot of ones that get missed. And if I was gonna put Fallout in, I would probably swap The Last of Us for Fallout if I had to put Fallout on my list. But I think Fallout stands alone as just something uniquely special, separate from video game adaptations.
Okay.
So,
Counterclockwise. Nice 5. Brandy.
I don't know if I have 5.
because they all
I'm
sucked
getting
up to this point. They just started getting
Ooh.
good. No, they just started getting good, like real shit.
I'm gonna put Street Fighter on there. I don't care, fight me. I'm gonna
There you
put
go.
Tomb
Now, does
Raider
that
with
does that
Angelina.
include the Legend of Chun-Li?
Which Tomb Raider? First or second?
Oh, first, Angelina.
The first one
This
with
is
Angelina.
her list, sir.
But she already made that clear earlier.
Well, that's no, because there was 2 Tomb Raiders with Angelina.
Right. So
right,
that's what I was asking. So the first Angelina.
Well, I'll say the first one. Yeah, I like the second one too. Don't get me wrong, but I'll say the first one.
Okay.
Sonic.
Movie or cartoon? Movie?
I'm gonna put The Last of Us on there. Movie.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna put The Last of Us on there because
it feels
really
like a placeholder.
Yeah,
it feels,
I really
feels
did.
like a placeholder. If something else comes up, you can take it off.
Oh, I really liked the new Super Mario more than I thought I would.
Okay.
Yeah. That was actually really good.
So there's that. There's 5.
Very good. Jeff.
I'm gonna go original Mortal Kombat movie, Arcane, Twisted Metal series, Sonic 2, and I will also include the Super Mario movie, the animated version.
I liked it. I didn't have a high expectations, and it shattered my expectations. I really enjoyed it. I was singing Peaches for weeks.
Peaches.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I really enjoyed his double jump montage, like learning to go through the levels and how the blocks fall. I appreciated that, having died a number of times myself playing Mario growing up. Mario couldn't damn do it, so it wasn't me. He couldn't jump. I told you he wasn't jumping. Y'all didn't listen. No.
You gotta move the controller. You gotta
right. You gotta.
There you go. You gotta move with it. Gotta move with it. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. So my 5, since I posed a question, my 5 would be Arcane. Easily, that would be number 1. So Arcane, Fallout, Mortal Kombat, the first one, was definitely a favorite. Number 4 might shock you. Silent Hill. I absolutely loved the Silent Hill movie. I thought it was a really good movie.
That. I've never finished playing that game. It creeped me out so bad I cut it off and never finished.
I've got a friend I want you to talk to. She would love to talk to you about Silent Hill.
I don't blame you. And Castlevania would be my number 5.
Yeah.
That game freaked me out. Nothing even really happened. I was just like, I don't like this. Going through that school, I was like, no.
The ambiance was just off.
It's a very difficult movie to play at nighttime.
Yes, the ambiance was just off for that game.
So you do feel like you're inviting some shit into your home playing that.
To go back though, because there's like how many of them? 4? Is there 4? And a movie.
Silent Hills.
Yeah.
The movies.
The movie.
Oh,
directed by Yui Bowl.
Stop.
Silent Hill, the first movie. The first movie is not Yui Bowl, dude.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that is definitely not him. I think that's House of the Dead.
He did do House of the Dead. Hold on, let me pull him up because let's see. House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
Name of the King, Postal. Where was it?
Speaking of, they're doing a Black Phone too.
Far Cry. He actually did a Far Cry movie. How about that?
Oh,
I played that game. Let's see. Alone in the Dark. Okay, it was Alone in the Dark. It wasn't the Silent Hill. Gotcha. He did a couple of Blade Rings and House of the Dead. But Alone in the Dark was the other one. I was thinking you said Silent Hill, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah, there are a couple of Silent Hill movies though.
Yeah, I think there's like two major. So there's
how many games though? That's what I'm saying. Was there 4 games?
Yeah, I think there's 4. I think it's just 4.
That's a commitment.
They're all equally disturbing.
I know. That's what I said. I'm like, I need to go back and play them, but that's a commitment. I could only play them from 2 to 4 on a Saturday, and then.
So I go during summer equinox.
Facts. Bless,
and honestly,
all Sunday.
Keep in mind that you have like some of those not altered games, but like the other versions of the games as well. So because you have like the port, not the ports, but like everything wasn't just like PS2. You have like some of the handheld games and things like that. So there's actually a few more than that. There's a
oh wow,
a lot of Silent Hills.
Yeah, it's a lot of Silent Hill out there.
I only played the major ones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, folks, that has been us talking about video game adaptations. We hope you learned something today, or at least have an opinion on the things that we had to say. What was your favorite video game adaptation? Was it a movie? Was it a TV show? Or was it something that ended up being animated? Leave it down in the comments below. Let us know. Make sure to follow us. You can click that QR code right there by RG, and that'll take you to everywhere you can find GrownAGeeks. RG, Jeffrey, Brandy, I'm LD Geek Sam, and we are out of here. Peace.